I just scooped into a perfectly baked strawberry rhubarb crisp. It's one of my favorites. You get the sweet tangy underneath, you get the streusel topping. I'm gonna show you all the steps I did to make this so you can mimic and enjoy it yourself. Let's go. There's nothing more spring than strawberry and rhubarb, and when you put the two together, it is a strawberry rhubarb delicious dessert, and that's what we're making today, is a strawberry rhubarb crisp or a crumble. It's really simple. It's just fruit on the bottom that's slightly thickened and sweetened, and then that wonderful like streusel-y crumble on top. It's super simple, and if you're not used to rhubarb, this is the beginning to a love affair. Let me tell you, this is a great thing. I grow lots of rhubarb because if you live in the Midwest, you have a farm, you just have rhubarb and a lot of it. And so rhubarb is something I've always had. And what it is long stalks. I think I still have a longer stalk in here. Long stalks that grow, sometimes double this length with a big leaf on them. You go and pick them, or you can buy them at a farmer's market at a grocery store this time of year, usually only when they're in season. And then we use the stalks. We don't use the leaves, and we just slice them up. Now some people think thick ones aren't good. I love all of them. I love any size, and you just slice them up, and you enjoy them usually in dessert. There are savory recipes out there too. But what's great is rhubarb is it has a tartness to it, but it does have a unique flavor to it too. And that is only enhanced when you add strawberries. So when you mix those two together, to me, it's something really special. So I'm taking strawberries and I'm hulling them, meaning I cut out the tops. And then on big ones like this, I'm going to slice it in like quarters probably. I like big pieces because when they do bake, they bake down for sure. On smaller ones, I'll just do maybe once in half because they will get quite a bit less in when they're baking. So I'm gonna put these right all in the bowl, all that fruit and all that deliciousness together. You know, growing up, we usually would have had strawberry rhubarb pie, which is delicious, but this is a lot easier. This is a lot quicker. You can just put it together and then you can have something that's just as good as the pie. And it was one of my grandma's favorites. It's one of my favorites. And I still make this all the time. So to this, we're gonna add some sugar. Now, we don't need an overabundance of sugar because the strawberries do have sweetness, but we do need some for that rhubarb to just kind of temper it a little bit because it can be pretty tart and pretty like the side of your mouth. You can really notice that tartness. So we're gonna put that sugar with it. We're gonna do a little bit of thickener, so some cornstarch. This is gonna help tighten everything up once it's actually in the oven. And that's important because otherwise all those juices would just have free reign. So this just gives them a little bit of viscosity, a little bit of body, which is really nice. And then to that, I think there always needs to be some type of acidity or a little bit of juice to get things going. And I find with rhubarb, there's something special about orange. You can do lemon, but orange gives it something extra, and I really think makes it pop even better and bring out those flavors. So I like to juice it right in there. Oh, look at that. And then we're just gonna mix it all together. And mixing it, they will macerate slightly with that sugar, but also it will kind of dissolve all of that cornstarch, which is what you want. You want cornstarch to be mixed with something like a liquid usually before it gets hot. So doing this, you can see already, it kind of makes not a paste, but a slight kind of just wetness to it, and it just dissolves that cornstarch into all the fruit, which is what you want. And notice I'm doing a higher ratio of rhubarb. To me, that's important to balance those flavors. So I'm just gonna put this right into my greased baking dish. And you wanna get any residual juices too. And remember, this cooks down, so while it looks like a lot right now, it cooks down quite a bit in the oven. So what I wanna do though, do you see all this? Yeah, this is all flavor, which if you were here already, that orange brings out the strawberry and the rhubarb essence. I just think so much better than what people realize. So I'm putting it right into there. So we're gonna set this aside so we can just make the topping, which is super quick too. That's what's great about crumbles and crisps. They go together super quick. So if you're wanting a dessert, if you're wanting to enjoy some type of fruit that's in season, this is the way to do it. So it's gonna start with some flour. And I'm gonna put that we're using the same bowl. I scraped it out. Why dirty another bowl? Just put it right in there where everything else was. Then we're gonna put in some brown sugar. Super important because you want those more caramely, molasses type notes that brown sugar has. And so we're gonna put that in. And then we need some oats. That to me makes a really good topping that you want that texture in there. So we're gonna put in some, and I use old-fashioned oats. You can use whatever oat you want. And we'll put that, look how perfect that all is. I love that mixture. We need some cinnamon, super important. Now, we don't need to put like an overabundance, but definitely a little bit, just a little hint to really bring home that crisp flavor. It can overpower if there's too much, so we want just enough. And then we're gonna do some salt. we're just gonna sprinkle that salt in. Now we're gonna put butter in, but first I do wanna mix it just to make sure it evenly mixes with that butter. So you can see once you start doing that, you can, if there's any bits of brown sugar or anything, you can just evenly get in there and work it together. And this is gonna be better for when we work in that butter, because the butter is what's gonna create that more crumbly topping that we really need. So see how perfect that is? So I'm gonna cut my butter up in small pieces and cubes and then add it in here. And that's when we can start really working it in. So I'm just making sure I cut it in somewhat small pieces, and it's cold butter, and it just makes it so it works in a little bit better. And we're going to break it up into those pieces that I like. It just works in evenly if you do this. And once those are in there, I just toss them to coat them all so it keeps them individual. And then you just bring them up, you push them through your thumb and forefingers. That's the easy part. See how I'm just pushing and it just breaks them up into these bigger pieces. And then as you do that, you can start working faster. If you've made pie dough, this is somewhat that similar thing. It's really no different, but what we're doing is getting irregular sizes of butter to create these little craggy areas and craggly streusel topping that's gonna go on top. So you just have to work this until it gets to a kind of a coarse sandy texture and then put it on top. And you can see at the end, it kind of has a sandy wet texture. So it looks like this, and if you do a fist, it kind of makes one, but then it crumbles apart. It's literally what you want. And that's perfect now to just put on top. So this is how easy this can be. And I think sometimes we overcomplicate dessert. I know, the problems we create. No, it's just that we maybe worry that, oh, desserts aren't worth making at home or it's too much work. And you can see that this one really isn't. It's super simple. And we're putting this over the top, and then when it bakes, all that goodness is gonna get bubbly underneath. It's gonna activate all that cornstarch. The top is gonna get so golden in the oven, which my mouth is salivating just thinking about it. So I hope you are ready for it at home too. So what I'm gonna do is pop this in the oven. We're gonna let it bake, and then we have to let it cool a little bit because it'll be too runny at first, but then we'll try it. As you can see, it has baked beautifully and now it has cooled. So two important things with a crisp. You wanna make sure that it bakes fully, meaning bubbles like this. You want it to come up over the top of the top streusel. You want it to bubble all around the edges into the center so it fully activates that cornstarch and fully cooks. But then two, you wanna let it cool. If you don't let it cool, it's just gonna be really runny. So you have to let it cool slightly so that cornstarch actually tightens up and is ready to go. But this is the best part, and I wish you guys could be here to join me, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad I get all to myself. You know what I mean. But we're just gonna go in. Oh. Look at that. You get just enough viscosity that it just falls slightly, but it also holds its own, and that's what you want. If you look in here at the interior, this is what you need. See how it still is a little runny because it's still warm in the center, but a little thickened around the edges. Guys, I love a fruit crisp if you didn't know that, but you're finding that out now. I've had this many times. Can I just say it never gets old? What I love is that it's so simple. You actually, even though you do have sugar in the streusel topping in there, you get the flavor coming through of those strawberries and the rhubarb. Rhubarb has flavor. I think we often forget that because we put way too much sugar in. This is balanced. And you don't taste the orange. I think it brings out though that little bit of citrus pop. The flavor's even better. And this is what you want. A little bit of run, but still holding. That's exactly what's happening. And you get just a little bit of tart with the sweet. This is that perfect combination. The toasty oats on top, that runny, delicious, but super cooked perfectly inside. It's all like playing this beautiful orchestra that I love. So what do I hope you do with this? I hope if you don't have rhubarb or aren't used to rhubarb, this is your sign to try it. In the season when you see it, buy it, use it, enjoy it, try something new. If you already are adept and love it, this is a great thing to just add and make. So of course, if you enjoy this video, please share it around. It helps me, but it helps others see this is doable. Making good, delicious food at home. If I can do it, anybody can do it. You can enjoy dessert, have people over, gather together, share this food. That's the point of it. I'm about to have it to myself, so I'm gonna share it with myself, but you should share it with other people. Check my website, wiseguy.com, for this recipe and all my others. Until next time, I'm gonna be taking my piece and finishing it.